Když to prodávat si tady 15% a nepoděláme to, že se třeba bez ní zkusíme pokutu zademonstrovat, že jsou volní, a pak dáme to, co se podaří. No, to je nemohu znát, že dám nějakou píču, protože když mi to dělám ceny, dělám, já když to bude taková, tak budu dělat se ještě 13 na školy, Slovenského, on říká stejně. Já to říkám ST, ale on říkám ST. ST to je samozřejmě. Já nevím, já si snad nevím, že to vždycky na škole. Nevím, tak, więc ja już na
Nejsou závěry. A kdyby to nevadí, ještě. Ne, to až takám tady. Protože je zrcadlo převrácené. Tak si vlastně může číst. Co teď snažíme to rozpěskovat, všechny části mají
Alright guys, sorry for technical issues. First time we are here, so... Alright, so welcome to the ngParty. I'm Martin, and I hope we will enjoy a couple of hours or so with us. Alright, so meetup announcements. Keep in touch. We are on Slack, we are on meetup.com, we are on Twitter, G+, whatever. What are the news from us? ng metadata, RC candidate number 2 is online. What is that? That's a library I wrote. It's like a port to Angular 2 from Angular 1. For TypeScript, decorators, you can write your code like normal people, no pure JavaScript. Alright. 2016 is the year of Angular 2. 2015 was the year of React. The things are going to change. So in January, there was Angular Camp. In February, there will be Angular Conference in Amsterdam. In March, there is the logo. I will talk to you about more about that. In May, there is ngConf. In September, Angular Connect. October, ng Europe. End of the year, Angular Conference in Belgium. Like so many conferences. Okay, so we are doing this for the first time, ngParty Labs #1. It will be at 27th February. We'll do a 3-hour workshop, like migrating your existing Angular 1 app written in ECMAScript 5 to TypeScript with ng metadata, which will allow you to have future code for migration to Angular 2. You want to migrate, it's pretty important to migrate. The biggest announcement, at 30th March, we are doing the first conference in Czech Republic about Angular, I think. It's called Angular 2 is the new Angular. It will be for free. It will be about 5 hours. We have international speakers invited and confirmed. The final schedule is not yet ready. We're working on it. We will have Igor Minar and other awesome gurus from Angular community. So Alright, we have some new sponsors, partners, JetBrains, TopTel, and the general partner Embedded, which is also sponsoring this meetup, which we are very grateful. If your company or somebody wants to help us with this thing, feel free. Alright, maybe you saw there your meetup tags. We'll do a raffle for one JetBrains license at the end of the meetup. And we will have one winner for Angular 2 book, which is a really nice book about Angular 2 with a lifetime access for upgrades, etc. So if your name isn't there, I think there are just some empty sheets. Put it there. Put it in the Vietnamese group. Alright. Sorry. So yeah, that's the raffle. Alright, I have some discounts for you, because we love you, we love community. We have a €50 discount to JS.com to that page. Okay, this is perfect.
I guess we just wait for it in 2 minutes. But we can see it on the handout.
Huh?
We can see it on the handout.
So you guys just go home. You will be cool. So we have a 20% discount to ngNL and 20% discount for ng2 book with all examples. So if you're interested, just check the presentation. It will be online after this event, or talk to us. There are the links directly to the discounts. So yeah. Alright, what happened in the www world? Angular 2 beta 3 came out. It has own HTML parser. Maybe you who know React, there's nothing new for you, but it's new for Angular people. So we will have first-class experience by developing like React guys. Angular 1.5 came out. It has one-way data binding. I know it sounds funny to React people, but it's really a great achievement and the way to go to migration. So yeah, perfect. That's more stable performance, etc. TypeScript 1.8 came out. It has super migration path from JS to TypeScript. So seriously, if you want to sleep well, you are not in the ice stage anymore. Use TypeScript. You deserve it. It's really good. And some new version of React. The 0.15 version will not support IA. Then some new Docker came out, npm versions are upgraded with more features. And yeah, what we will talk about today. So we'll have some Flexbox stuff. Then I will tell you something about zones. What are zones? And then React we'll file it up with the Redux and the React stuff. So, alright. Just send it to Git, commit it, and yeah, let's get this party started.
Yeah. Anyone have an idea how I can start the organ? No? Yeah.
It's arrangement. Arrangement.
Yeah, thanks. Good answers. Alright. So, okay. I'm sure you can.
Alright. Just stay. Hello everybody. Today we will be talking about some of the ways to build layouts and components with CSS that actually make sense, not those like crazy and obscure techniques that no one knows about. So yeah, my name is Jackie. I know it's hard to pronounce, but deal with it. You can find me on the internet at Electric Frog. That's easy, Electric Frog. You can find me on Twitter at Electric Frog, also at electricfrog.com. I work at the same group. I'm also active at in the open source community. I have actually 2 active projects. One is a JPL team, which helps you build blogs, and also within a platform that helps communities organize virtual meetups. So that was about me, and here's what we have for today's menu. We were going to talk about why should you care, and why should you give a damn about flexbox. We'll be talking about like the general concepts, and finally we'll be talking about like we'll deep dive into the properties and see what each property does. Okay, so why? But before answering this question, actually let's move on and see like one of the CSS problems that we have, or like the problems that we have with CSS, not with the language itself, but the problems that we have as users. Okay, so CSS is hard. It is. And before I explain this statement, let me share with you my story. So, like 5 years ago, I started learning CSS. I picked a book, started learning how to do italic, bold, those stuff. And I was so excited, and I was with my laptop running to my brother who knows nothing about CSS, and I could do blocks and I could do floats. I was like this. I was trying, I know something, but once you try to start with service and layouts, it's hard. Yeah, I feel because within layouts it's hard. That's one of the hardest things about CSS. It's once you want to build layouts, it gets really messy. Yeah, it can be hard sometimes. So let's revisit one of the attempts to fix those problems that we have in the current CSS. We have tables. Yeah, tables. Come on. Those things were made specifically for table of data, but we used the shit out of them. Yeah, we just used them everywhere. So then came floats, and floats were great, but floats. Come on. There are multiple problems with floats. If you have a container, sometimes the items floats from the container, and it becomes harder to maintain. And you should use clearfix, and then no one knows what it means. And one of the great things that it came is inline block. Inline block is kind of fixed some of the problems that we have with floats, but it's always feels like this. We're doing something, but it's not properly. Come on, we can do better. And I will just go through one of the biggest problems that we have within layouts. I will show you some examples. There's the sticky footer. Sticky footer means that sometimes you have let's say this layout, and you have the content, and you want it to always be at the bottom. Here's what you want. But good luck with it if you want to do it in the normal CSS that we have. Also, we have the problem of equal here columns. Sorry. The example is that sometimes you have the content and you have a sidebar, and you want your sidebar to be in the same height as your content. This is what you want, but good luck with it again. And who was waiting for this one? Sorry, who was waiting for this one? This was centering. Come on. This is so damn hard. Do you know there's a website just for this, how to center stuff? Guys, we discovered that there's water on Mars. Can you imagine this? But we can't center stuff vertically. That's so damn. And here's me trying to center something. I try, and I try something, and I'm still trying. Come on, it gotta be something easy, and I'm trying, still trying. It works. I don't want to do this. This is where Flexbox comes in. So if you are asking yourself why should you use Flexbox, you got the answer. Okay, so let's talk about these other concepts. Actually, one of the great things about Flexbox is not the code itself, but the thinking. So don't get stuck on thinking with the old ways that we have with floats and all the other layout techniques. Just think in this new thinking with Flexbox, and I will just show you in a minute how it works. So the first concept that you should think about and should remember is the Flex container. As the name applies, it's a container which will contain items, which leads us to our next point, which is items. And those were the two, one of the two points that you should know about. Okay, then we have main axis. The main axis is just think about it as the the horizontal line. Just think about it like this, but this is the default. It could be changed, but just memorize it. It is the horizontal axis. And we have the cross axis, of course, which is perpendicular to the main axis. And actually, we have them both. We don't have one or another. We have them both. So whenever you think about the main axis, which is here in orange, always the cross axis is perpendicular. So whenever I told you that you could do something on the main axis, think about this like the cross axis too. Okay. So let's move on to the flex properties. For the flex properties, I will show you first the properties that act on the container. Then I will move on to the properties that act on the item. Okay, so start the container. This is the where the magic happen. So this is the property that you should use to activate Flexbox or something. And again, it acts on the container. And we have flex direction, which does actually, as I told you, it is the main axis. So if you set flex direction to row, your main axis is horizontal, which is default. And if you set it to, this is just a reminder to remind you that the cross axis is always perpendicular to the main axis. So if a row confined flex direction is set to row, that means that our main axis is horizontal and our cross axis is vertical. Okay, we have column. Column actually, if you notice, our main axis can rotate to be vertical. And just a reminder, always the cross axis is always perpendicular to the cross axis, to the main axis. We have flex wrapping. Sorry, the default is no wrapping. So I will show you what wrapping does. So the wrapping is gives us the same behavior that we have with flows. So if you have like a container, and inside the container you have items that are floating. What if the container is small, the item will just goes down. This is what you have like with flex wrapping, which is cool in here, which we don't have in the flows, is the no wrapping. Is actually this one forces our items to not goes down, even if there is no max space, which is cool. Okay, so we have justify content, and justify content. The first value is flex start, and what does justify content? It aligns your item on the main axis. So flex start just puts all your item at the left, and flex end puts all your item at the edge, at the right. So in here, if you are wondering why we don't have right and left, wouldn't that be easy? I would say no, because one of the greatest things about Flexbox is that it is agnostic. It doesn't know what is right is and what is left is. So that's why, if in this context, if we have our main axis rotated, the flex start would be the top, and flex end would be the bottom. Okay, we have flex center. Anyone? Say coming. And we have space between. This is a cool one. Actually, it tells the container to divide space between the items that you have. And you don't need any calculations and anything. You just set space between. It will just figure out how to set the space between the items. And we have space around, which does the same thing as space between, but around the items too. We have align item. Align item acts on the cross axis. So we see justify content, which works on the main axis. This one works actually in the cross axis. So the first value is flex start. We have flex end, and we have this one, flex center. Good. Come on, it's like one property, and you can center start vertically. If you are not feeling like this right now, you don't have any feelings. Yeah, that's actually guaranteed. Okay, we have stretch. Stretch actually is pretty cool. It like gives your items the same height as your container, which is cool. And right now, let's move on to the items. Oops. That was pretty much water. Okay. So we have the items. No, sorry, we will see the properties that act on the item. We have order. Order is actually a cool thing that we don't have around the old stuff. It allows you to play in the how your items are displayed without actually changing the HTML in the DOM, which is cool. Sometimes, for instance, you have if you have a responsive application or responsive layout, you want on the desktop to be only this position, and on the mobile you want to start shifting things for instance, you want like your menu to be at the bottom, whatever, or your content to be the first, which is cool, without even changing any HTML or anything, just with CSS, which is cool. So how it works, it's kind of works the same way as in the index. So the lowest value will just go up. Okay, and this is where the biggest magic happens. This is flex. So flex actually is a shorthand for 3 other properties, which are flex grow, flex shrink, and flex basis. I will just go through each one of them and I will explain to you what each one of them does. Okay, let's start with flex basis. Flex basis actually is the same, has the same behavior as we have with width. So, for instance, we can say to an item flex basis. That means that's how I want it to be. This is how like large I want it to be. So, if this is accepts any valid CSS unit, rems, ems, rems, anyone? Okay. Okay, we have percentages and pixels, of course. And there is also the auto property, which gives the item the same width as bit content, which is cool. And we have flex grow. Flex grow actually have a cool behavior which tells the item. So this one we set it to the item. So when we set it to the item, we tell the container. So through the item, we tell the container how much. When there is free space, how much we want this item to be large. I will explain to you. So let's say that we have a container with 100 pixels, and we have two boxes. One blue one, and the other one is black. I should have it put it red. It could be a good reference to metrics. Blue field, red field, anyone? Okay, great. So we have like 2 boxes, the blue one and the black one, and we have free space. This is cool. So if we sum up like the width of those 2 items, we will have 40 pixels, and the free space will be 60. Now, watch out! What will happen if we change the flex grow of this item to 1? Watch out! It will take all the free space that we have, which is cool. Like we don't do any calculations. There's no percentages, nothing. We just say that this one, I wanted to take all the free space that we have. Let's say that for the blue box, we will set it to 1, 2. Watch out what will happen. Cool. Like, I will just go back and see. So in here we have the free space, which is, if we calculate it, is 60 pixels. So what will happen, we have free space with 60 pixels, and for this guys, we have if we sum up the flex grow values, which will be 1 plus 1, it will be 2. So we have the free space, which is 60 pixels. If we divide it by 2, and we give to each one 30 pixels, that's how they will grow. This is a cool one. We will demonstrate it on the examples, and yeah, it's a cool one. Okay, we have flex shrink. Flex shrink actually acts in the opposite way of the flex grow. This one tells how your item, how this should shrink. Instead of growing, how this should shrink and give space to the other items. So let's take another example. We have, let's take a container with 60 pixels. We have those 2 guys set to flex shrink to 0. And this is the needed space, because as we have 2 boxes, one with 40 pixels, the other one with 40 pixels too, and the container is 60 pixels, so the needed space is 20 pixels. Now, watch out if we give the blue box 1. It will shrink, giving searching for the needed space and give it to the black one, which is cool. And if we set 1 to the black box, it will also shrink, giving the blue box some space, which is great. But watch out in here, there is no grids, there is no floats, there is nothing. Just, like you tell your items how do you want them to be, naturally, and you do in a normal way. Okay, that was it. And hopefully you are feeling like this. Like if you have superpowers, I really hope so. I hope you're not like this. Oh boy, what is this? Flex what? Shrink what? Come on. Okay, show me some code. Okay. Oh, there on the display. So actually, we have 2 or 3 examples, and if we are not running out of time, we can do the 3. Okay. Everyone could see code. Oh, okay. So in here, let's show you the HTML. It's normal. We have the container, and inside of it we have items. For items, for each one we have the class item and another class which item class is the index of this item. Okay, that was it for the HTML. Let's see the CSS. First of all, if you remember, one of the first things that you should do is kind of turn on the flexbox, which is done with display flex set to flex. Nothing will happen because the default one is row, so all your items will just set to it beside each other. But watch out, in here, if we for the item 1, I just set margin right auto. Actually, one of the cool things about Flexbox is it changes the behavior of some of the CSS properties that we know. For instance, it changes the behavior of margin. For instance, in here I set just the margin right set to auto, and like all the space needed will be calculated automatically. And of course, super expensive. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, let's do the first example. And we have the other one. Okay, this one is called the Holy Grail layout, which, like 81 of us have done this one at least once. So we have the layout, we have the header, we have the body inside, we have the menu, content, sidebar, and of course, the famous footer. Okay, let's see how we can build this with Flexbox. So one of the first things that we should do is turn on Flexbox. If you notice, like also in here, the default stuff will just be applied, which is flex direction is set to row. That's why we have the items sit into each other. And if we say flex direction, because this is not what we want them to be horizontally. So just flex direction to column. It's starting to be good. Now, one of the good things about Flexbox is it can be nested. So you can have like a flex container, and the flex items could also be flex containers, which is cool. And for the body, it's activate the Flexbox inside the body, which is flex item. Starting to see something, but we want, ideally, we want the menu to be larger a little bit. So I will just go and activate, set the flex property. So as I told you, flex is the shorthand for 3 other properties, which is the first one is flex row. So for the menu, we won't go on into row to check all the available space. That's why I set it to 0. And for the flex string, same thing. We want to, when there is no much space, we want it to stay as it is. That's why I set it to 0. But the flex basis, this is the ideal width. I want it to be 100 pixels. That's why I set it to 100. For the content, which is cool, I will set the flex grow to be 1, so it takes all the available space. And for the shrink, it will also like give some space if needed. And if you remember, flex spaces, I set it to auto, so it will be as wide as the content. Okay, so for the sidebar, same thing as for the menu. Starting to see something. That's cool. We have our Holy Grail layout. It's cool. But wouldn't it be cool if we could put some responsive stuff? Yeah, sure. Now, I put on like a done Google immediately, and what I would do if I shrink, I want the whole thing to change, which is the body to change to be horizontal. So, sorry, vertical. So I will set the flex column. Cool. But now, whatever, this is down, but let's do it. We want the sidebar to be up and the menu to be down, and the content to stay as it is. So we will play with the order. So the lowest item with the lowest order will go up. So I will set the sidebar to 1, the content to 2, and the menu to 3. Oh, cool. And stay with this, too expensive. Yeah. Okay. Okay, that's one that was for the layout. There's also we cannot do this demo and talk about Flexbox without doing the vertical centering. Come on, guys. We're here for this. Okay, so let's take the Flex display for this one. So we have our image and our content, but we want them to be centered. It's centered there using align items. I know that this may be confusing for you, but trust me, once you will start playing with it, you will you will click and you will say, why clicks? Why? Okay, so this is cool. We have our image with the content centered, but now let's center the whole thing. So from the body, we set it to flex. This thing here, the stretch, which is the default, get applied. That's why we have the item string. We want to like this. We want to be centered. Cool. And yeah, that's it. That was centering, and trust me, you will, if you've ever done this with normal CSS, you will be experienced. All right, let's go back to our presentation, and I will just show you. Sorry, let's switch back to here. And yep. Here we go. So let's talk about. Show me some code. This is not. Let's talk about browser support. This is one of the things that gets people scared. That's cool. Your Flexbox is cool, but what about the browser support? It is the good news. This is actually good data, actual data from caniuse.com. You can check it out if you want. This is the percentage of how many browsers are supporting Flexbox. What are you waiting, guys? Come on. I don't want to see any of your code with a Flexbox. I would not tolerate this. Okay, this is the browser support. Yeah, I know that you were waiting for this guy to show up somehow. This is like the actual thing. One of the problems with Flexbox is that there were like multiple versions of Flexbox. So each browser kind of supported with some versions, but not the other. But that's where you could not use the normal properties that I was using. You should use some tool that will help you with auto-prefixing. This is where auto-prefixer came into place. I highly recommend you to use it because I don't want you to waste your time typing the auto-prefixes. Okay, there are some references. You will find them when the slides will be published. There is just a straight Flexbox guide. This is one of the great things. This one will help you actually try to remember the syntax and what are the values, but it will not give you use cases. But it's a good reference. We have also Flexbox.io. A guide put a series of videos which are very cool. I highly recommend you to check them out. Sorry. We have also Flexbox for Game, which is an interactive platform that helps you understand Flexbox. Closing thoughts. Flexbox is something new. And if you notice, there are some things that you can do with the normal CSS, but they are easy. And there are some new stuff that you can never ever do with normal CSS. Also, Flexbox could coexist with your actual other layout techniques. It could coexist with floats. It coexist with tables. Come on, I don't want you to do this. And yeah, so it's all about mental shift. Just don't get stuck into thinking about the old layouts and how to do stuff with floats. Just learn the concepts and try to think in new ways, and you'll be good. All right, thank you.
Right, so if you have any questions,
Yeah.
shoot.
Yeah, there's one I can read it too, but yeah, still.
Maybe I've already asked you, but do you have production experience with left to right to left support?
No, actually, I've never built any layouts like this with Flexbox. I built them with normal layouts, but not with Flexbox. But from what I read and where I experimented with Flexbox, it's completely possible. And it's all it's even simpler. Yeah, to do. Yeah, yeah. So I don't want to get you into details, but yeah, it's extremely simple with Flexbox. Yeah. And one of the main things about Flexbox is that they put it the main concepts without thinking about any right or left or top or anything. If you notice, there's always flex start, flex end, flex. So yeah.
Do you know how much is there missing to have it working on Internet Explorer 9? For enterprises, for the Vista machines.
I don't have any idea, but what I could tell you is that you could in your application you could write stuff with Flexbox, and you could put floats and all that stuff. So the modern browsers, what will do is that once they will find Flexbox and all that stuff, they will just disable all the floats and all the other stuff. And the vice versa will happen on the other browsers. So in i9, it would just not recognize Flex, and there will be fallback for the floats and stuff. But the code will be probably harder to maintain because you should maintain two separate things. Also, check out Modernizer. They have some good stuff in Flexbox too. Yeah, Modernizer. Yeah, should help you with that. Yeah, sure.
Is there any support for positioning on the z-axis in Flexbox?
What do you mean? I didn't get it.
You have two boxes and one in front of them.
Mm-hmm. I didn't experiment with it. Yeah, actually I do. I played with. I was trying to make a pop-up, which I guess one of the use cases, and it worked pretty well. I didn't even thought about it. I just worked the Flexbox, the Flexbox stuff, and it just works. Yeah, so it would be probably work.
Right, any more questions, guys?
How much heavy is it?
Sorry?
How much heavy is it?
Sorry,
In kilobytes or something? Is it heavy library or?
No, actually, there's no, if your question is there any impacts on the performance or something? No, I would there's nothing noticeable at least.
Right, so thank you again.
Thanks.
And we'll have let's do a 5-minute short break, take a beer in the fridge, whatever, and don't forget to put your name tags in that raffle hat. We have prizes.
No where else?
Oh, you love it.
Things.
So yeah, right. And one of the things that I want to do is you can do full text. You can still also benefit from Flexbox, but the layout, the users will not be totally broken, but they will have something.
I do not need to make the switches inside and say, okay,
No, yeah.
I'm running you know those, then I should use a different thing. It's just it was like, it will just where it's something which is really at room or at somehow something show.
The reason why we should tell us, guys, upgrade.
Yeah, well, you can, but
Hi, I'm Radek. Nice to meet you. It was a great presentation. I knew that it was not the interaction profile was really great, so I think that you can have experience some training or something like that. It was still a presentation.
Sorry?
So I think it's excellent interaction for people that are doing that.
That's why one of the things that I wanted to actually, I wanted to go into this stuff.
Yeah.
The main reason that this talk is to get people excited.
Yeah.
So
I think that's the main things you mentioned. I hope that you will use the presentation again in some other outlet because it has to cost a lot of time to do everything because I don't know how hard this is to create this type of slides. Really, definitely.
Thanks.
Okay. No, 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 no. I'm not. Yeah, yeah, but that's the problem. You get but you get the full tree, full tree. Can shape
Byl to klíčové cesty.
Do you know the Twilight Zone?
Twilight Zone?
Yeah, the series. Sci-fi series.
Empires.
Oh,
Okay, yeah.
you should like, it's an easy joke. Everyone.
Like the zones from Stalker.
Sorry?
The zone from Stalker.
Stalker?
Stalker is a Russian movie. There was only one zone, but It was bizarre. Yeah, Google it.
It's great movie, but it's not like full action. It's like
It's like a lyric movie. That story was the movie for 3 hours. And there is no much plot. Just a guy.
it's all art movie. Yeah.
Guys, do you still need me to broadcast something from my laptop?
Sorry?
Do you still need me to broadcast something?
No. So can you see my screen?
Already left the
Angle, yeah.
To znamená, že mám tu diagnozu.
Alright. Are you ready, guys? To be in a zone?
maybe hide this distraction.
Alright. Yes. Alright, so Jones. Zones in JavaScript. Okay, who am I? I like Star Wars. As you may notice. My name is Martin. I work for Embedded as a software engineer. And if you want to join us, we are looking for a colleague to the front-end team. Just saying. Alright, what problems do we solve nowadays? What problems? Alright. I have my new iPhone. I love it. And it gets banned. It's a trap. Come on, people. What's happening? Alright, just trolling. So in the JavaScript world, in every world programming world, we are solving problems like catching errors, debugging, profiling. So, catching errors. It is pretty easy. It's synchronous code, right? You have just try catch, so error is catched. Super simple. No rocket science. It's like as slow as always. What is the story with asynchronous code? It's not so easy, right? Again, we have try catch, we have set timeout, which triggers a synchronous event in the browser. We throw the error, which will never be catched. So, why is it? Alright, let's step back how browsers work. So we have the code on the right side, there is an A call, set timeout, whatever. Then we have run order and a browser queue. Alright, so A executes. It executes immediately because it's synchronous. Then we call B, it's a set timeout, it's asynchronous. The browser is stored in its queue. We call C with set timeout again, it gets queued to the event loop. Finally, we call D, it's synchronous, it runs. After that, loop is free, we call B. Finally, C. So, what was that? Okay. So this is not very predictable, right? How can we mitigate it, or how we can catch errors in situations like those? So we have promises in the newest specification of ECMAScript 2015. All right, what are promises? They're chainable. They're pretty nice. They're like immutable. So here we have like this is some function which calls something asynchronous, which returns promise, and then we chain it. And this is how we catch it. We have basically just a catch like we had in the synchronous version of the try catch. Alright, perfect. This is so nice. Finally I can sleep again. Cool. Alright, this is all nice, but what if we have some third-party code which isn't wrapped in promises or doesn't handle it properly? Like this one. We have some function which calls some asynchronous event. If we are calling this function within our code, we can't catch this. Caches. So I'm pretty confused right now. All right, let's talk about something else. Profile. How do we profile? We want to measure some program from point A to point B. So here's a program, some start A. Again, this is the same example, but as I've shown you, this won't work because synchronous, event loop, etc. All right, we need help. Please help us. Zones to the rescue. All right, what zone? It is something kind of like domains in Node which are deprecated, something like thread locals in Java, and the most important thing, Dart. Actually, it's not so important for me. I think it's whatever. So Dart has zones. That was the thing which was shown to JavaScript developers how to handle these things. And what is the zone? It's execution context. Bang! It's execution context for asynchronous operations. All right. So how to measure this? Again, it's the same example. We have some code, we program, we have the start, stop. So maybe if we can measure it, we should put the start and stop to every call. So we have start and stop, all right? So we need hooks. Basically, those are just hooks, right? So we can use some before task, after task, and this is exactly what zone does for you. So let's implement it. We have the before task, after task, some pretty primitives, so it's date. And here we have the same code, but notice the most important thing. We are running it inside the zone. All right. You just may be thinking, all right, man. So what? It's just more code. Yeah, it is more code, but with one big difference. Zones are executed in the same time, and they run until the last operation is finished. So async tasks are in the same zone as where they were registered. So no leaks. You have all handled within the zone. Another example. We have first, second, third, whatever. It's called the next function synchronously. Again, within the zone. And it runs in the one timeline and doesn't mix. So again, the hooks are called appropriately. How is this all possible in the browser? You might ask. It doesn't override anything, it just monkey patch the things. So it's not dangerous for us. Basically, monkey patches all asynchronous event that you are using in the browser. So those and zone just monkey patches it with the appropriate function in zone. Alright, that's all nice. So what more can I do with that? We can compose, we can extend zones. How to do that? We have zone fork. What does a fork do? It's not fork like in Java madness. So fork creates in zone, it inherits from the parent zone, and we can override the parent or extend the behavior with this new zone. And all this awesomeness is done by the hooks again, which are called zone specification. This is the API for the zone specification, which makes sense, right? We have on zone created hook, before task, after task, on error handler. Alright, so let's do one last example. We have main function, which does something. There is a timeout, which is going to do something. Something, blah, blah, blah. Alright, just remember the console log. It will print out async task. Here we have our zone specification. We are using before task, after task. We are forking the zone with this specification, and we run again this program within this forked zone. Okay, so what will happen? This is the logs from execution in the zone. We have before task, after task. Wait a minute. Again, before task, after task. What is happening? So my zone run creates a task. That's these two messages from the creation of the zone here. Then we have before task, which is run from the forward zone. Then it eventually turns out that asynchronous operations are self-contained tasks. So we have another task created for the set timeout, which gets executed, and then zone continues to the after task hook, which logs after task. All right. Angular 1, anyone? Who is using Angular? Whoa, like 80%. Do you like Angular, guys? Angular 1, I mean, do you like it?
No. Sometimes.
Sometimes, exactly. Do you like React?
Yeah.
Me too, but Angular 2 knocks on the door. Alright, so yeah. Most of the guys in Czech Republic, when you're talking about Angular, they're like staring at you like this guy, like come on. It's not hype anymore, it's not cool, we have React, come on. Alright, so if you're familiar with Angular, it uses under the hood scope.apply because it runs its proprietary dirty checking mechanism, and we have to tell browser what happened asynchronously because it's not in the browser's event loop. So every time on ng click, ng whatnot, it's going under the hood scope.apply to retrigger the digest cycle, which can be sometimes a pretty performance bottleneck, but I'm pretty sure you're familiar with it. So what if I tell you, you can use zone with some specification and never ever have to put in your mind that, all right, if I have some third-party library, so I have to call digest. Not anymore. You can use zones and you're safe. What is the biggest advantage in Angular 2? It uses zone under the hood for change detection. So the performance is like super power boost, much more quicker than Angular 1. Because there is still dirty checking, but the TTL for the digest loop is 1. Just 1, and that's it. Alright. I hope you're talking about zones, how can I use it or whatnot. Brian Ford, core member from Angular team, created this fantastic library. Basically, he hasn't created this. He had backported it from Dart to TypeScript. And maybe you're just asking, okay, that's just another library, I don't care. Last week, Miško Hevery, the father of AngularJS, did a proposal for the TC39 committee, which runs next versions and creates how JavaScript looks like in a browser. So it's in state 0, and hopefully it will be one day native in the browser. So we can all leverage it and use it for our proposals. So yeah, that was those. Thank you guys. Questions?
How big is the library?
I don't know.
Your guess, is it like?
It's alright. Actually, I was lying. The whole library has 200 lines of code. So how big is it? Pretty small. So
I can read it in a break lunch break.
sorry?
I can read it in a lunch break.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
You'll be answered.
I can so I need to be in the zone.
Yeah. And you can use it with every framework you choose. It's like Angular specific. So that's the great thing. You can use React, whatnot. I don't know. What is called these days? Backbone? Just kidding. Alright, any more questions? Alright, so thank you.
Thank you.
very short break, and after that, we will detox all the things.
Because it works.
HDMI stopped working.
No, you should have changed to the.
Right.
Yeah, maybe it is like a video or something.
Which one should I choose?
I'll run to her. Just give it some chance. Yeah.
Oh, cool. No, echo. Echo. This is yours, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
HDMI is much better than the.
Yeah.
But
I'm sorry.
maybe you could change like the. It's called yeah, make it right. Like for the like the theme that I'm using with the website. Yeah, because I don't know if people can read it as well, but maybe we should change it. Quick. Yeah, maybe it's just something like default. Yeah.
Doesn't have to breaks.
What is here?
It's so huge.
I'm using Ashley, man.
That sucks.
Okay.
Hallo.
Ja. Počkaj,
So yeah, not very English.
Join? Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, they are not there.
What? Join? Control room. Google Connect. What is it?
Speaking controller.
You will break the internet.
Effects are not supported. Effects are not supported. Nothing is not available.
I don't know.
Enter screen. Whole universe. Yeah. Jesus. How can you work this thing? Is it? Is it? We should have started. Just a second. What? Now? You mute?
No, не хочу видеть.
Что?
Камеру. И сам статичный.
You're screenshotting? Я подивлюсь меня. Yes, you. I'm fine. Do you see?
Yeah. All right. So, Leon, it's yours.
Okay, thank you for the questions. I'm lucky that you didn't use the chance to escape from my talk, even if you are really great students. Thank you for coming. So, the talk is particular hypothetical because it's about the Redux and the Redux against reduction. Okay, so everyone should be working. Who am I? I'm this man. I'm a software engineer. Previously, I used to say I was a developer, but since ECMAScript 2015, I'm working as an important expert. Because I don't know expert. I rather than. So the thing is, I will put you some. I will give you some introduction to how data works, how Linux architecture, benefits, and then I will show you some resources where you can catch up. So at the beginning, there was Flux, not Light. So 1 year ago, when I came into the React community and then started to read React, I saw it all. It was exactly 1 year ago. Like in February, there was Track.js and some guys. Were looking about React and Flux and how Flux is awesome and everything. We just need to use Flux and everything good. So that's the architecture, Flux architecture. It's an awesome picture. You may have noticed you have dispatcher store, you actions, and you propagate in wires somehow together, and everything works. Like, first, I didn't publish React, and they introduced Flux and the Relay and other projects. But after working for a while with Flux, you may discover it's some disadvantages. It's great, Flux was great compared to how I was working with NGS, compared to a traditional MVC framework where you have model view and CMS and no relational propagation of events. The Flux architecture was great because the ideas was representing like unidirectional data flow and etc. All this cool stuff from Later, you're looking at limitations. You will see that you have to be import or it's very verbose, and it's made upload in the stores because mutate directly. Mostly you are using immutable.js or object design, but by design, the architecture is less functional as it should be. Here are my exposure or limitation of Flask reasons why I changed to React. When we try to make a non-component, we have to always import the store and put some examples like the component will mount, the div mount, and the component will mount, and detach callbacks, attach callbacks, and listeners, etc. So it's very helpful. When you have multiple stores like to-do-lists and utilities and etc., and then you want to connect them, like you want to exploit the to-do store user, you have multiple splits, stores utilities as like it's separated by the files, the source code is separated, but not in this logic. Here is a common message that you can see when you put a component will go into the DOM, component will mount, you will fire an event, like an action, and another component will be mounted and fire another action, and you cannot dispatch in the middle of the dispatch. And you resolve it by the most stupid way, set time one. Like, it's definitely the next dispatch, but it's not a good solution at all because you go in the middle of this code. Facebook presented a solution like before is basically processing queue, but this is fair. Like it does not work at all, it does not scale, and after 30 stores, 30 stores, you will end up with this problem. Like translating the dependency, you will all the time evaluate for some store that processes some data. And last point is like it's not functional at all. It's like it's a good approach. It was really great in 2 years ago or 1.5 years ago. But it's not functional at all. So this is an example of a good application. You create a class. Here we have the initial state. This is the to store somewhat important, like to store initial state. Component you add a change listener to the store, or applying nice component to the store, and as you can see, it's quite verbose and you don't know. Like one change. When we change the tools, let's say like it's quite expensive and okay, we go evolve on the framework or on the library, and maybe some of you have seen the talk by the Abramo 1 year ago at the React conference in Paris, where he had demoed this project called the time ago. Like, you don't need to refresh the whole page or refresh button and you change line or something like that. You just need to replace the module replacement with Webpack. Like, you save in a day, a couple of minutes or hours with the refresh in the browser. In February 2016, which is there or now, we have the React architecture. It becomes the open standard for allowing React applications. Like you have to have a good idea or good design, how to use React or some other version, but you definitely won't go anymore with Python or REST or something like that. It is strong functional influence, and that's very visible on each point in the framework or in the library. There's a function composition layer of the functions, functions triggering other functions, and I will explain in detail. The main inspiration with a single store, like if once you have multiple stores, and in React you have only one store, it's inspired by Atom. It's a framework encoder and it has atoms. And you have one single atom that represents the state. The Elm is another functional language. It has solution. It's a common architecture. It's very helpful to go through it. For example, like not events, but not. And there are three operations filters. There are array comprehension operations or operations in JavaScript. And this is the functional interface that you can use all the time. You don't that directly until you do some clicks in maps and etc. Okay, this is three things like nothing more. You have a single store, like single item. State is redundant, which means it's replicated all the time. You change it, and creates a new copy, and you just use a few functions for update the state. No imperative code like if this, do this, and that. No, just few functions. Okay, single store is completely clear. You have an API which you dispatch, install, and subscribe. You create a store, you get this object, these methods, and you can achieve really much with it. Set redundancy, like verify an action in the component, like when you mount the component, when you click on the button, it fires an action and creates a snapshot, like Git commit log. It's basically a commit log where each commit is a branch of the state. And the reducer, the most important part of Redux is basically a function which takes the previous or current state, the action you want to process, and the redundant state. Nothing else. This is the notation. It's a function that returns the conversion of the previous state by handling the input actions. That's it. But it can be also a generator. You can use a generator to be a reducer. It can be a generator. And it can yield side effects and return the state. You can yield in a function a side effect, which is on purpose, and you want to do it. But yeah, I can get to this at the end of the talk and give you some recommendations. Okay, an action. What is an action? For the architecture of an architecture, it's a minimal representation of change to your data in your application. Everything, you have a huge object, or you have a huge JSON object, which is a state, and everything related can be done only when action is fired. Store rules, the reducer, big love, like that's the idea solution. Okay, visual notation, how you create a store. You pass just the reducer, which is a function, which takes an object or some state, and you can pass like initial state and the store enhancer. Don't care about like visual reducer. You have a state which is an array, like empty array, and an action. If the action is of type as to do, you just convert like when you take the input, and you just convert in an X. You read on the do and you will return the state. Like all the time you return the state. And if you create a store, you just import it from the Redux library. You have this reducer, this is a function, pass the default. You call the store give you the string methods like the API. You call display on it. You normally pass the components or some other part of the application. And here you have the this is like a no-brainer. Like it's super simple. What is important in the Redux is the sheets out of the box, or not directly out of the box in the Redux library, but it has perfect React bindings and it optimizes your workflow. Like it's a sibling library, React Redux, and it has two major functions or two major API. It has a provider, which is you have a root application and you wrap your application in the provider and you do the store. You have just passing the store and the double JS or and pass to the provider. And the provider will take care to pass the store at the right place. And then you have this magic component, the magic function, magic I mean like when I started with Redux, it wasn't in black box, but it's straightforward. It just takes your component and wraps it with these three methods for collect the return function where you pass your component. And inside this you can do cool stuff because it connects the React component, which is basically a markup or virtual representation. You can state it first. That means you have a store where you have the object or your application state, and it hijacks the component with this method. You have the dispatch, like when you want to trigger an action, you get by this function, you get dispatch to the component which you are using, and here are the two optional components, measure props and options which are not right now, but probably not recommended. But you don't need them at all at the beginning. I guess it's not necessary. So in this to-do list, you have imported to the application, you have here the to-do list. You have here like visible like user, and yeah, or visible to-do list, yes. And choose where is the okay. Yeah, here we have to connect method which takes the to-do component. It's a dummy component. It just receive to-dos and a function is fire complete. Here is the component, and it's passed to the function which returns connect. And now state to browse like the visible to-dos is like function which takes the to-do list. Like here is well, we can just this special props, like you have a single function which takes the to-do, which is a action creator, and there's into positive argument to dispatch. And you have this method that I want on the to-do list. Like this is again straightforward. Like okay, and get this to-do is called like when the state changes and you receive new state to your component. It's basically one way of doing. Okay, what is important on the Redux and I appreciate is the middleware. It's the middleware in a simple term like from Express or Smart.js. You can, where you have the reducer and action, you can step in between and you can do some processing with action. For example, you can lock the action somewhere, or you can do some other operation, but it's an extension of the trigger. You can write your own middleware, which is like logging, crash reporting, taking asynchronously actions, etc. So this is a huge part of the framework. You are not forced to use anything if you don't wanna. But if you are willing to write your own middleware. Redux is, for example, a very total simple middleware. By default, an action is an object. Like, is this page an object is available, and what the Redux middleware does, it dispatches a function which is called later. So this allows you to do like asynchronous dispatch. Like, here you have the function increment, which is an action creator. You return just a triangle. This is a string, but this increment is a function which accepts the first argument of this page from the whole thing, and it calls after one second the increment function, which is another action creator. So it's not very total simple, and when you create this store, you have this group reducer which uses the action and returns the state, and you have a function called middleware, where you pass the tongue where you pass the tongue from the library. This is it. So again, nowhere which works well and works. So what's the life cycle? Like first, at the beginning, or at some point, you have the view, which is the component. This view complete or one some lifecycle level is taken to fire an action. This is processed by the middleware or non-middleware if you don't use anymore. And it's passed to the user, which processes the action and returns the version of the state, which is passed to the component. Again, and it renders. Like this is the whole cycle. This is really simple. But at this point, I would or should connect another to the user, which can some action from a side effect API service or a service layer. Basically, you should put all your business logic to some service layer. Okay, you should compute the reducer should be as good as possible, just processing the action and returning the state. That's a more advanced topic. So, what's the definition of workflow that we're going to start with Redux? This is the next slide. You will get scary, but you will all once. Like, you have to do this, but out of the box, at most, starter keys or some, when you put Redux starter key, this is already done for you. You don't need to do that, but you need to understand what's done when you want to understand the Redux. Like, at first, you define the reducer function, state, action, okay, so this is the root reducer, and you can combine two reducers together, like for each portion of the state. By this function, combine the reducers is provided by Redux. Then you provide the middleware, for example, time, Redux tool, and logging. And the middleware returns the function, which accepts the store enhancer and returns the store enhancer. Okay. Optionally, you can compose multiple functions. This is functional composition of a function calls in another function, etc. It's applied to provide a life. Like we do have a function accept this as an argument, and it depends on and finally, we create a store with a root reducer and initial state, which can be empty or nothing, and it's for an answer. Once you have the store, we pass to the provider, which is the graph of the root component, and then you can just make the command map state to route some distance to browse and component. And this is it, like, if you follow these single steps, like, it's out of the box. And abruptly, a reducer can return another reducer. Because another reducer or return reducer just returns the state again. So you can do function composition. This is a really killer feature. What are the benefits that I identified? I've been working with Redux for the past, I don't know, from November. Like, this is not as long, but I started in August. Similar and cleaner code base. Like before, we were using nothing Flux, which was pretty similar. By the way, Tomasz was at the big entry talking about Flux. But once we introduced the Redux, Redux became much more cleaner. Side effects were removed from the exchange, etc. So it was a huge boost to the code base. Saves time and money. Performance, like Redux, out of the box, utilizes component update. And once you use variable data structures, the state which comes from the connect function or decorated component, because it's just decorator, you can use should component update and render another part of the application. So if you do some crazy stuff, you don't need to render always. Testing. Reducers are functions. Functions are simple to test. We have an input to the function which is an object, an action, and you expect something to happen. You can call the reducer multiple times with multiple variables, and you expect an answer. Like this is again super simple to test. And not possible with action creators in Flux because you have to use just Facebook's testing tool because you have to do a lot of UI. Like you are importing a library in their project and you have to do UI and all that. It was hell. Time travel, my favorite feature, I will demo it now. It allows you to go to any state.
You will take travel right now?
Yeah, I fixed the DeLorean and disappear at the beginning of the talk. Okay, so how does it work? At the beginning, I introduced this Redux starter kit, which is not available. This terminal, this. Like Redux starter kit is a GitHub project by some guy who has already set up the whole stack for you. You just git one and can install and just put preview and run. He's a clever guy. You can see what you can do. All options are there. And there, which starts using the web process, compiles the sources, start watching, and it has module enabled, like it replaces the application state. I put some stuff there, so it deals the errors for me now. I go to presentation mode. Here's by default disable semicolons. I use semicolons all the time. Demo. Sorry for the presentation. Okay, so if I go to the page, I see the dark. And this sidebar is a very attribute. Like here you can see all the modifications to the state, to the application state, which were done before. Like if I press increment, counter increment. If I press the tank, double async, bar. For this time increment, you can do the actions. You can turn them off. Nice. This is cool. This is very cool. Because you can have a huge formula, application, the formula has, I don't know, 20 inputs, you have to fill them out, which offers another page or another state of your applications. And all the time we are making the change in the second step, visa, for example, it will be meant to go all the time there. Like, really. But what is really cool with this whole wall, I will put it side by side. You can hide this by Control H, or you can put it anywhere you want. It's really cool. But this will also consume even more. Like I replace the dark with ngParty logo, save the file, magic. No refresh of the browser, no refresh of the browser, because everything, these components can be overloaded. Like, this is, I think, really great feature. Like, this is obsolete. Open to ngParty. Save the file. Open to ngParty. And this is like, if you know marginal methods or marginal methods library metadata, then you can click metadata is awesome. Or, yeah, put it here. And I would put this hashtag hotel works. Because it is awesome. I'm watching this everyone on Twitter and on meetup. And he wrote a really good library. And for those of you who are writing in applications, you can be glad that this person is back and is really good open source. I'm unfortunately that I will consume for that all, but maybe he will come like join us. So basically, this is automobile replacement is like you change the source code of your applications. It's get recompiled. Like not everything can be recompiled, but fortunately components which are classes can be recompiled, and you can simply update the UI without having to refresh the whole page, and you can use stuff like I'm using this environment or simply use like you can do even more basic stuff. There is a tool where you can export the state or a JSON, send it to somebody, and load it into this page and see the same. Like for customers, like this is it's insane. And also there is another library which creates a timeline, which switches the related UI into a workstation, like for making tutorials or something like that. It's super. You can do that at the beginning. I can increment async this a couple of times to a commit, which persists the boundary with this integer. You can double it and or reset it at the beginning. So this is the diagram which I like. I hope you like it also because it will be available in Angular as well. And here are some results. The presentation will be online. Like it documentation. Exit.io is a real training service on the portal where you can get 30 minutes of React time from the author directly. Like Diamond will explain it is explaining everything. You will hear this React tutorial, which is again another go through. What are the advanced topics? Maybe some of you are interested. We can arrange future talks or future topics. This is more about basic operations in our applications like rendering and animations, etc. Self-implementing, there will be a good talk. I can recommend a friend of mine, Tomasz Weiss, will give a talk at the end of February. You can check out on Twitter. The biggest specialization focus on side effects in reading version rates. Another topic, interesting topic is services, where you can do this business logic with components, customer and routing. This is something if you don't start with Redux, don't start with this topic because otherwise you will get too confused. Okay, do you have any questions?
They use that library.
That's fine. Oh, because we don't have a use for it yet.
We don't know.
Yeah, I use it exposure, like, because I found it very handy. And we don't have a use for it because we just have a simple step solution, like no complication. Yeah, we don't need it.
Okay.
But I know that it is also, it's also a good use case. Once you transcript the data and a slide modification, restore this.
Do you have any experience with Redux, some visualization library like the history or something?
No, but there is this awesome library called ngParty.js for middleware. It's a ported D3 into React. Yeah.
This is really cool.
And yeah, it's good. I don't know if any of the thousands of D3 shapes and permutations of data is available, but you can do here live preview. Like you can edit it here, and it should change as well. Like on the page that you can use. And if something is a real component, you can just do a wrapper, get the wrapper and which highlights the right portion of data and the reverse changes. But I will go through this like Victor.js is a wrapper of D3, and yeah, it should work out most. I don't see any problems to why it should not work. But I don't have a personal experience. That's the question. Okay, another. Okay, you can continue with the other.
Does the state machine somehow keep with the browser explorer? Or?
Yes. There is this actually it's a group on the which is called Rect, and Rect creates Redux with other Rect and React and Restore those are projects in my community. And Redux Router 2.0, which is released tonight or tonight in the morning, handles the problem with the history. And if you go to this Redux starter kit, which is this as I mentioned, you have here this root component, I guess. Yeah, and as you can see, there's this root component. I will make it bigger, and he just passes the history here to the router, and the router gets passed to the provider. So you have this provider, and it contains the router. And if you go on figure store, here you have this Redux middle, this magic line. That's the syncing of the browser history with the state machine. And again, Redux is a mini library which gives you the API where you can call routing events from the components. Like, yeah, it is really handy. Like you import this into root actions, and you can dispatch will pick like push to full. Like it is a handy replacement for Redux router, which was the previous one. Okay. Okay, so thank you.
Would you recommend, because I saw that there was this Redux and some projects in Router, it's going to be hard.
Yeah, because they are trying to optimize, because there was this context, React Router was built on context which was passing the cars to the context is a special feature of React itself. But they were trying to fit this API to 2.0 that is compliant with Redux. And if you go to Redux.js, it's already a section here on this page. Usually there are metapages not there yet, like as you can see here. it's really working in progress because it was not there yesterday. So at launch I was checking it before because I was preparing, it was not ready yet. And by the way, this book, which is mentioned in the presentation, is really awesome. Like, this is the stuff I would like to expect when I use a project. It's documented like this. You have everything there, and everything is so super simple, no buzzwords, like command users. It's example, you get it. So the question, the answer to the question I would use the regulator, and I'm using it. And I would like to talk to now about Martin's contribution to our management because it was not really. Okay, another run for you. Yeah.
All right, so now it's the record time, right?
Cool. We will have the lucky hand.
You.
Oh. That's awesome. Sure. Maybe there are some online winners.
No.
Did you put minus?
We covered only people which are here present.
Okay. And if you want any question later regarding the Redux?
Later.
Okay. I'm available Twitter and Twitter and right.
Alright, just reminders. Where's that? So,
no cheating motion. Absolutely.
good. Too many times.
Radik Schwarz.
Radis Schwarz. Alright, so what's your different size? We have L and S. That's it.
Oh.
Just, 3 talks, 3 options.
Shrinker go home. Okay.
Aleš. Ah. We are doing this for the first time, so. Congratulations. Alright, now something more interesting. Angular 2 book.
Angular developers, fingers crossed. Because
Succeeded. Cool. So yeah, alright. It's actually I'll put you later and you'll be money on it.
That's the here's the
Box of it, guys. Alright, and the first prize, 1 year JetBrains license for every project you choose from them.
who will we choose? Or should I?
Yeah.
Should you?
sure.
Yeah.
So somebody.
First time speaker.
Right. Sorry.
Jirka Ronik. Just your email and
Yeah, here is
okay. And I will post videos. So yeah. Thank you guys. So
It's awesome.
the other prizes, thanks to our sponsors, and don't forget the workshop, 27th February, and the big event, the 30th of March. we will show you everything related to Angular 2. So it won't be just Angular 2, the TypeScript, native script, Ionic, RxJS, and so on. So thank you for visiting us. So let's have a chat back there. There are just some years left. So enjoy them, and thank you for coming, and see you next time. Thanks.
Ciao,